On a quiet night, when the stars twinkled like tiny lanterns in the sky, a little boy named Aaron lay in bed staring at the ceiling. His eyes were heavy with sleep, but his mind was still wide awake. The night felt different somehow, filled with a hush that was more than silence, as if the world was holding its breath. Just as his eyelids began to close, he noticed something strange near his window. A balloon, glowing softly, floating in the moonlight. It wasn't tied to anything. It drifted closer, hovering at the edge of his bed, its string dangling like an invitation. Aaron sat up, his heart racing with curiosity. The balloon shimmered, changing colors with each breath. Gold, silver, violet, and a shade of blue so deep it looked like a piece of the night sky. Without thinking twice, Aaron reached out and grabbed the string. The moment his fingers closed around it, the balloon tugged gently, lifting him off the bed. His blanket slid away, and his toes left the mattress. Aaron gasped, but instead of fear, he felt a burst of laughter escape his lips. The balloon carried him upward, through the ceiling, as if the house was made of nothing but mist. In seconds, Aaron was soaring above rooftops, past the treetops, and into the sky. The world below glimmered like a sea of diamonds, and the cool night air rushed around him. "Where are you taking me?" he whispered, though the balloon gave no answer. Instead, it carried him higher and higher, until the stars seemed close enough to touch. Then, the first dream world appeared. The balloon dipped and carried him through a shimmering doorway of light. Suddenly, Aaron found himself floating above a candy kingdom. Mountains of marshmallows rose on the horizon, rivers of chocolate swirled between gumdrop hills, and lollipop trees swayed in the breeze. The air smelled like sugar and honey. Gigantic gummy bears waved at him cheerfully, while jelly bean birds fluttered past. Aaron couldn't resist. He let go of the balloon for just a moment to catch a flying caramel coin, but the balloon gently tugged him back, reminding him it was time to move on. With a swoosh, the candy world dissolved into a swirl of sparkling mist, and the balloon carried him to the next dream. This time, Aaron found himself gliding above an ocean made of liquid starlight. Silver dolphins leaped from the glowing waves, their bodies trailing glitter like fireworks. A giant turtle swam slowly beneath, its shell covered in constellations that shifted and moved. Aaron laughed with wonder as a school of fish shaped like shooting stars darted past. The balloon lowered him just close enough to dip his fingers into the starlit sea. The water tingled, leaving glowing specks on his skin like tiny pieces of the universe. Again, the balloon lifted him, tugging him toward another dream. Now he drifted over a forest of giant books. Towering pages turned with a soft rustle, and glowing words floated up into the sky like fireflies. Aaron leaned closer and realized the books whispered stories, their voices weaving together like a lullaby. Dragons, heroes, and castles sprang to life in shimmering outlines, dancing across the night. He wanted to stay and listen forever, but the balloon tugged insistently, guiding him onward. Through another doorway of light, the next world unfolded. This one was a kingdom in the clouds. Castles made of crystal and pearl floated high above, linked by bridges of rainbows. Winged horses soared gracefully between them, their manes glittering with stardust. A group of children waved at Aaron from one of the cloud balconies, inviting him to join their games. He wished he could, but the balloon carried him higher still, as if it had a purpose far beyond play. Aaron began to wonder, why me? Why is this balloon showing me all these places? But the balloon gave no answer, only swayed gently, as though urging him to trust. Finally, they reached the last dream. The balloon carried Aaron into a place more beautiful than anything he had seen. It was a meadow bathed in silver light, where flowers glowed softly, opening their petals to reveal tiny stars at their centers. A river of moonlight ran through it, and in the distance stood a great tree with branches stretching to the heavens. Hanging from its branches were more balloons, hundreds of them each glowing like a lantern. They floated gently, their strings trailing down, waiting to be held. Aaron's balloon guided him to the tree and hovered beside him. He reached out, brushing the bark, and felt warmth like a heartbeat. Suddenly, he understood. Each balloon was carrying children through dreams, showing them wonders, guiding them on journeys they would never forget. His balloon had chosen him tonight, to remind him that dreams weren't just pictures in his head, they were worlds, alive and magical, waiting to be explored. The balloon tugged once more, and Aaron felt a drowsy heaviness creep over him. His eyelids fluttered, his body relaxed, and the meadow began to blur into light. He was floating down, gently, slowly, as though on the softest cloud. When Aaron opened his eyes again, he was back in his bed. The moonlight spilled through his window, and the night was quiet once more. The glowing balloon was gone. Or was it? There, on his pillow, lay a tiny silver string. Aaron picked it up, smiling as he realized it was a gift, a reminder of the journey he had taken. He tied it around his wrist and whispered, "Thank you." Outside his window, high above, if you looked carefully, you could still see balloons drifting across the night sky, carrying other children into dreams. And Aaron knew that whenever he closed his eyes, he might just feel a gentle tug, lifting him once again into the magical worlds waiting beyond sleep. That night, he drifted into the deepest, happiest slumber, with a smile on his face and starlight still glowing faintly on his fingertips.